You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Wednesday. Hey, my name is Brock.
I'm Dalby, and welcome to the official time of year where you put on the heater in your vehicle to go to work and the air conditioner to come back home.
Oh, dude, it's the worst. I always forget that we have the heat cranked, and then I'm driving around later in the afternoon, and I'm like, why am I sweating right now?
You got the seat warmer on max, and same with the air conditioner.
Yeah.
You're just like, my body doesn't know how to feel anymore.
Even at the house, I got mad at Courtney. I was like, why is the AC running?
Dude, and I saw, it's not going away anytime soon. I saw a big thing from the Weather Network about, fall is, September 21st or something?
Something like that,
We're coming up on actual fall, but they're like, we'll be into, I was going to say Ottawa. We will be into October, is the word I was looking for, before the weather starts to turn into, what we kind of expect for fall here in Ontario. Yeah. And they were saying, basically the only place in Canada that is going to get cold on time, Northwest Territories. That's
no shit.
I was like, I'm reading this and they're like, the Maritimes, you got to watch out because it's storm season out there, but it's going to be warm and the prairies are going to be warm and there's going to be a lot of rain on the island out in Vancouver Island, but it's going to be really warm. Ontario's going to be good. Territories is going to be cold. I'm like, we can't fucking catch a break. And global warming skipped right over the territories.
The place that's just known for being cold?
Ice, snow, and desolation. Another year running.
Yeah. That's like being like, do you know Mexico's going to be hot this year?
I also saw some people in response to this story. They're mad that it's supposed to be warm in Ontario because people are like, no, we want cozy season to get here already.
I don't know what that is. What's cozy season?
Cozy season where it starts to get a little cold, so maybe you put on a sweater, you curl up with a good book, maybe you got a fireplace, you light that up. When you get more comfortable because it's too cold to go out and do anything.
That's making baby season.
That's also, but if you don't have someone to make a baby, if you're not Dave Grohl, then you just call it cozy season.
That's Netflix and chill. And reminder, WWE is coming to Netflix soon, so Netflix and chilling is gonna get real intense, dude.
Hey, babe, you want to come over and watch WrestleMania X8?
You want to watch Money in the Bank?
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I'm gonna try and persuade Jackie to see if we can get this band Texas Toast Chainsaw Massacre on the radio.
Texas Toast Chainsaw Massacre?
I've been seeing this on Instagram and TikTok a lot. This is my new favorite song.
Hey, buddy, I wanna pet your dog. Please, buddy, I wanna pet your dog.
Damn.
It's not even like an Instagram thing. This is a real band, and this is a full 3-minute song.
Okay, but here's the thing. Obviously, the song being I Want to Pet Your Dog is funny. But why does it also go so hard?
They didn't have to go that hard.
No.
Here, wait.
I always give them treats. I'm always back in bones. You can call me Dog Patty Jones.
It's awesome, dude. Texas Toast Chainsaw Massacre.
Dude, even Dog Pettin' Jones is a great band name, but Texas Toast Chainsaw Massacre is catchy as hell.
I will say, imagine this dude walking up to you while you're walking Penny.
Hey, buddy, I wanna pet your dog.
I let him pet Penny every time.
I don't know. It's an aggressive way to ask.
Listen, hey, I love that dog. But if someone comes and starts screaming, I want to pet your dog!
Yeah, sometimes you gotta let him, I guess.
You know what? Yeah. Let the leash out a little bit more. Penny, take one for the team.
I will say, and I don't know if any other dog owners feel the same way, I am very selective on who I let pet my dogs.
I find most times you can let the dog make that decision. They're a pretty good judge of character.
Well, even just with the dogs I have, a Staffordshire and an American Bulldog.
True.
Sometimes I get some sketchier folks and they're like, oh, what beautiful dogs you got there. And
right. You're like, all right.
And I'm like, you ever shake someone's hand and feel dirty afterwards?
100%.
It's the same thing. Sometimes I see people petting my dogs and I'm like, I gotta give you a bath now.
I'm not okay with what's happening here.
Yeah, and then Silas is a big licker, right? So then he's licking and I'm like, you're gonna go and lick my face after.
That's right. Yeah, we gotta go. You need a dentibone when
you
we get
can't
home.
trust everyone's hands to pet your dog is my thing, you know?
You can't just let any stranger willy-nilly come up with their filthy mitts and touch your dog.
Just because you come up to me and go,
It sounds like he's got a gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got that big, long revolver that Jack Nicholson had as the Joker, and he's like, hey, buddy.
some people get bummed out when you say no. And it's like, I mean, it shouldn't be expected that you can just pet anyone's dog. I mean, you wouldn't go up to a pregnant lady and be like, ooh, can I feel? Like,
Oh, brother, I hate to tell you, but people do that.
you shouldn't.
They should.
You shouldn't.
But just the same way people will try and pet your dog.
You
People-
shouldn't compare a pregnant lady to a dog, but it's the same thing, all right?
It's the same inappropriate behavior, and some of y'all need to stop.
Hey, lady, I want to touch your gut. Absolutely not.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
All right, the presidential debate went down last night between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and, well, it was something.
It definitely happened. If you want to say anything about it, it certainly happened.
If you guys missed it, I mean, all you missed is that apparently they're eating dogs in Springfield, Ohio. That's the biggest thing anyone is talking about. If you missed it, they asked Donald Trump about what he thinks about immigration
Right.
and all the policies and stuff.
A
And,
perfect question to ask someone who wants to be the president of the United States.
and here was his full answer.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Can I say respect for the person in the crowd that could not hold it together? This was not like the whole crowd laughing, like, oh, what a fun joke. It was one person who was probably trying to be really stoic and was just like,
This sounds like something you'd hear someone downtown screaming.
yes, 100%. Someone's like walking around. They're really close to like a drive-through of a fast food place, and they're eating the dogs, and the cats aren't safe.
That's going to be the new meme that you're going to see all day. It's going to be that and the one of like Kamala kind of putting her hand on her chin looking at him. Like,
I will say, like, I know it was on ABC, which is maybe not the most like Trump-friendly
It's a
network.
little biased, yeah.
It definitely felt like it was a little bit like they were leaning on Trump, but
For
the
sure.
thing is, Trump also just fell into the traps. Like, they were ready for him to lie about things, and then he did.
Honestly, you really didn't miss anything last night. That's basically it's just that one clip. It feels like an SNL sketch. I feel like every writer for any sort of daily show is going to have a field day with this material.
I think it's almost the other way. I think that sometimes, especially like the whole they're eating the dogs thing, like, if you're a writer for SNL and you're trying to come up with a sketch for this weekend, what can you make up that's crazier than what actually happened?
Yeah.
Like, that's the struggle now.
I think I love this part of the year, like election season, because of all the memes and stuff that come out. But I think they should make the debates kind of like, you ever see those rap battle things?
Oh, yeah.
Where every time someone says something, they go...
Like, instead of just having Trump and Harris up on stage behind podiums, you would have, like, their entourage surrounding them.
I don't even think you have Republicans or Democrats. You have a random selection of people, almost like it's a jury, non-biased people that are standing around, almost like it's like that show Wildin' Out or Your Mama or something.
They start standing in the middle of the stage, and they just, like, start moving towards what side they're feeling the most. Yelling the whole
Every time a point's made.
They're eating the dogs. Whoa!
That's how we can make debates better, honestly.
Oh, dude, people would tune in 100% more. Like, I know a lot of people say, like, we watch the debates, it's so important for democracy, but you have to think the average person goes, oh, two politicians are going to talk for 2 hours? Boring! And they tune right out.
Yeah.
You put some hype people in the background.
Make it 8 Mile style,
You're
dude.
going to bring in the average viewer who's going to be like, what's this all about?
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Sam, how do you think we could make debates more entertaining?
Just bring in the octagon. Get those two lining up, get a good walk in, some good tunes, and see what happens.
Dude, there would 100% be people voting for president of the United States based solely on their walkout music.
Yeah. I can see Trump walking in with the flag and going,
Yeah,
"This is a real American."
It'd honestly be even better for Canadian politics because you could have like a Royal Rumble style match.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Bring in the NDP, the Greens. You got the Conservatives. You got the Liberals. Let a few fringe candidates come in there too.
Yeah.
And set it all in the House of Commons. Whoever gets that big gold scepter that they have in the middle of the floor gets to use it.
Yes.
Put it at the top of like a step ladder and have them all fight for it.
A Money in the Bank match for Prime Minister?
That'd be perfect.
Whoever holds the briefcase can challenge for Prime Minister at any time, anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, thanks for chatting with us, Sam.
Just imagine the next time Justin Trudeau is at the lavish Holiday Inn in Sudbury, and all of a sudden, Jagmeet Singh comes out with the briefcase,
Cashes in,
wallops him from behind. Oh my God!
Ashley did have a good idea on the text line. She said, "What about a halftime show at these debates? They do run a little lengthy, right?"
That is true. Yeah, if you could just all right, and now Weezer, and they just start playing Buddy Holly or something.
Or even another text just came in here. What if the moderator was Snoop Dogg? They're using Snoop Dogg for everything nowadays.
Honestly, at this point, Snoop has been so good at making so many things entertaining, I'm willing to give him a chance.
Yeah. He gets everyone a little bit high. They chill out a little bit.
Oh, that's true. The whole thing is man, why is the reception for this channel so hazy?
Or you know how they always have a problem with people going overtime, so they had to start turning off their mics?
Yeah.
What if they got them those dog shock collars instead?
Dude, just is and you'd have to give them a warning, right? Miss Harris, your time is running out. And
you get one
talking,
warning.
Keeps talking.
Yeah.
You
get one warning, and then every time after that, it's a shock. Right?
That is our best chance to see one of, if not both, presidential candidates swear on live television. Because if you've ever been shocked by one of those things, it's hard not to rip a 3825.
Even better is if you had them hooked up to a lie detector that you could see behind them.
Oh, dude, I'd be so stressed out. Even just as a normal person, I don't lie that often.
Yeah.
A lie detector test, I'd be sweating.
You go over time, you get shocked. You lie, you get shocked.
Maury standing in the background. That was a lie!
Yes.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Crazy news about Dave Grohl. I think this is the first time that I've ever heard negative press about him. If you haven't heard, he released a statement yesterday on his social media that said, "I've recently become the father of a new baby daughter born outside of my marriage.
Yeah.
I plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children, and I'm doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together."
Real missed opportunity to not start it by saying my heart is under arrest again.
Oh, God. It's just mind-blowing to me because Dave Grohl's always been put in this limelight he could do no wrong, right?
Absolutely. I mean, every story... The most negative thing before yesterday that you would hear about Dave Grohl is people would be like, I'm kind of sick of Dave Grohl.
Sure.
Because he's everywhere. He's in all these bands. He's all these guest spots, all this charity.
Or the most flack that he took was starting the Foo Fighters after Kurt Cobain passed, really. And then other than that, he hasn't really had much bad press going around, and people are lashing out at him on social media, and to be honest, if you cheated on your wife, to be honest, you have it coming, in my opinion.
And we should have seen it coming. The man said nothing satisfies, but I'm getting close, right? And so now here we are.
I was wondering, do you think when he brought it up to his wife, he said, "I've got another confession to make," and then after he told her, she said to him,
"Send him on his way. No, I'm not having any of that. Get out of here."
And then he said,
It's times like these you learn love.
Try to bring it back. No, we can fix this.
We really shouldn't be making fun of this, but there's too many puns with his songs, honestly.
That's the problem, man. The Got Another Confession to Make one is the standout. It's obviously out there. But if you really start digging into Foo Fighters lyrics, remember the song Matter of Time?
Yeah.
Where he said, my past is getting us nowhere?
Oof.
You think that was part of the discussion?
Oof. I just like to imagine as his wife asked him to pack his bags, her and the kids stood at the door and...
Watch him as he goes.
He's ordinary.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
the Brock and Delby Podcast.
Dougie Ford and company have sent out a survey back to the school boards and educators, and it's also available online for parents and students right now, where they're trying to figure out what practical life skills do you think are important and that students should learn? Example, whether it's like home ec, first aid, auto, woodshop, all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of those are just electives that you can take.
Right.
But they're saying, should they be mandatory? And I think for all of those, absolutely yes.
100%. But also, I remember taking home economics for a full semester when I was in high school, but just one semester. And I remember thinking, I hate this. This is lame. Why am I here? And then what was it? I was 38 before I learned how to cook.
Yeah.
Not only should home ec be mandatory, but it should be sat down with the kids at the beginning of the class and be like, listen,
well, even
this is how you survive.
With auto class, at least everybody should know how to change a damn tire, right?
Dude, we didn't. I mean, obviously, depending on where you live, resources are different. Living in the territories, we barely had shop class. We did not have auto. We were making those wood loon coin banks. That was the extent of it for us.
How many people do you know that don't do anything when their dashboard lights up?
Oh, absolutely. Don't even take it in, right? Oh, just another pretty light to look at while I'm driving.
Get rinsed when they go for an oil change for once,
because the guy comes over and is like, hey, so I don't know, maybe you should do this, 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 and this. And you don't know any better, so you go, okay.
Even going back to the home ec thing, when I went to college, the amount of kids that were on their own for the first time and had to legit read the box of Kraft Dinner on how to make it was
right?
insane to me.
Well, and not even now that I'm thinking about it, my memories of home ec are barely even doing any of the cooking stuff. They also taught you sewing, basic stuff like sewing.
Sure.
If you had a hole in that hoodie you're wearing right now, do you think you could fix it?
Nah, it's going to the Sally Ann.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably throw this in the garbage. But at one point, we had the opportunity to learn how to do these things, and we ignored them.
Even woodshop, man, that's a class that I actually couldn't get into. It always filled up too fast in high school, so I did auto, but I never did woodshop. And I think they're all just general skills that every kid should have growing up. But I think the biggest one is teach a finance class.
That's got to be the biggest thing.
Right?
I mean, it's the one that comes up the most when people talk about around April when it's tax season. Boy, I wish I learned literally any of this in school.
Or at least teach kids how to Google TurboTax.com.
Well, I guess that's a whole nother thing. And even my generation to your generation, I learned, how to use computers in a computer lab at a very basic, Apple E2 level, how to play Worms and stuff, using actual floppy disks versus you had internet when you were in school.
Yeah.
Did they teach you any internet safety or anything?
We had a typing class, but I mean, everything was kind of safe searched on at school, right? So you had your parameters limited. I mean, I feel like once a year we had cops come and try and scare us about talking to strangers on the internet, but we all still went on chat roulette every time there was a sleepover, so...
As one would. But that's the thing. I certainly hope as my kids get older, I already try to teach them, but I would hope that they get some sort of not only computer literacy course, but how to not get scammed like your grandparents online.
Sure.
101.
I think they should just teach a comedy class in general. I feel like kids are losing their sense of humor these days. They need to sit them down and just show them Norm Macdonald clips for an hour a day, and I think the kids will be better off for it.
I'm all for that being an elective. I don't know about mandatory.
Mandatory. Norm Macdonald needs to be mandatory in every Canadian school.
The Brock and Delby Podcast.
You have friend of the show, Emily, on the phone. In your opinion, Emily, what was the most useless thing you learned in school?
In gym class, we learned how to do square dancing and line dancing and all that stuff. It was so important.
I, too, in my time in high school, may have learned how to Cadillac Ranch.
Oh, nice.
And then every year since, I've had to file taxes. 0 times since have I ever scooted boots.
I don't know. It's gotten me out of a few kerfuffles once or twice.
You know what the crazy thing, though, is as we're all talking and laughing and joking as adults that we learned, line dancing and stuff like that, it's not unreasonable to think that, kids my kids' age will have gym classes where they learn TikTok dances. How do you feel now?
Oh, my God.
They did teach
That
us.
makes me feel so old.
They did teach us in the 6th grade how to crank that Soulja Boy. So
Boy, I remember learning that dance in my parents' computer room when that was a thing.
Soulja Boy, tell him.
I was so proud.
But I will say, how many times do you go out to like a wedding or something where you see people who do not know how to dance?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, too many, actually.
To
So
be fair, though, that's half the entertainment of going to someone else's wedding. Now you want to take that away from us by teaching them in school?
They need to teach kids how to drink and how to dance.
yes, 100%. I support that.
Because honestly, for both of those, obviously you're not going to have a class where you sit down with kids and you're like, hey, let's go shot for shot.
Right, well, yeah.
But I think there could be something beneficial to even before they go to college to be like, hey, here's how to responsibly drink.
Right,
you know,
well,
here's how to
just
map
like
your night out.
Teaching kids, I guess maybe that would be more of like an elective in health class of just like, knowing the signs of intoxication and making sure that you understand the responsibilities.
Teach it
you
right
have.
before prom or something.
Yeah, when they're going to use it for the first time.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Right? It could be part of the sex ed kind of portion of everything, right? And even just go to the dancing thing. You ever been at a wedding before and you see some guy out there and you're like, damn, they're suave with it right now.
Oh, absolutely. When you see somebody
They're
who
stunting on everyone.
knows how to work a dance floor, it's an impressive feat. But, I mean, when you're in school, you're leaving room for Jesus anyway. You're doing the most extreme dance is when you put your hand on her hips and you both kind of sway back and forth.
Yeah.
No one's out swing dancing at the school dance.
The coolest dancing is like twerking at that point.
Oh, I guess so. We weren't twerking back in the 90s, all right? That wasn't a thing yet.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We've been kind of working on starting our fall cleaning. Do you do fall cleaning, or are you just kind of like a spring cleaning household?
I mean, once the leaves start coming down, I feel like that's when I start doing a lot more stuff, yeah.
I find with the kids, especially like as they go back to school, now they're like running around outside a lot more if it's raining, or eventually when it starts snowing, they start tracking stuff into the house. So we like to do a little bit of cleaning ahead of time to just like get back to a nice clean base layer that we can work from to try and keep up with them.
Makes sense, yeah.
I was reading an article that says that Americans, or maybe it's North Americans, do an average of 3 major cleanouts a year. So I'm assuming spring cleaning, probably a fall cleaning, and then I think the third one is probably like that space after Christmas where you just got a bunch of stuff, so now you need to get rid of a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. There's a few times a year where even just I go through my closet and I'm like, if I haven't worn this in 6 months, like, let's get rid of it kind of thing.
This study also had an interesting stat that I never thought of before, but I think I'm actually part of. 50% of Americans say that there's at least one room in their house that they consider to be unsalvageably messy. Like, it's so cluttered.
Like your junk room kind of thing?
Yeah, whether it's full of, like, boxes or old knickknacks, or maybe you're the clean type. You've got totes, but they're stacked to the ceiling. There's one room in the house that apparently 50% of people are like, that room will never be clean, never be functional.
I don't think Courtney's listening right now. That's my girlfriend's closet. I'm pretty, you know me, I'm very minimalist.
100%. Yeah,
She's kind of the opposite. Her closet is like, I don't go in that room.
She got stuff.
I don't go in that room. I will say, my dad, on the other hand, if you go to his house, my dad is one of those guys that he's got like little trinkets and stuff that he hasn't used in years, but he's just like waiting for doing a job one day and he's like, I got a piece for that kind of thing.
Oh, dude, you know what I'm bad for? I'm bad for the bag of wires that so many guys have.
Yeah.
I got well, now it's upgraded to a box.
My
over
dad's
the
got
years.
like cuts of wood and I'm like, when are you, he's like, trust me, there's gonna be a time.
Yeah.
He's got like random screws and he doesn't even have full sets of anything anymore.
Dude, we all live that fantasy that one day someone's going to be like, oh man, if only I had X item, whether it is a cable, a wire, an object, a tool, and the dads in all of us is just going to go, I have that, and run off into a different room and come back with exactly the item.
I don't know if he's preparing for the apocalypse or
Well, that's
I don't know.
Realistically, we will never actually have to use any of this stuff, but we're ready if we do.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that cock was opened like 10 years ago. There's no way it works.
It's
like
not functional anymore. Throw it out. He's like, no. it's still good.
It's like if there's a purpose, there's a way. You know?
I find that I am learning more and more as I'm now living with somebody that I am the messier one. Like, my house has gotten a lot more organized over the last, like, couple months as I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess we didn't need to just put that pile of things over there. We could have put it on a shelf.
Does this have to do with a woman moving in with you?
That's 100%
That's exactly what it is.
It's 100%
That's exactly what it is.
I thought that I kept a fairly reasonably clean house, and now I'm like, oh no. Not living in squalor, but I was the unsalvageable room, so to speak.
Sometimes you just need another set of eyes in there to go, ugh.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Matt texted in, and I think this is probably the answer that resonates with the most people. He just said, my whole basement. If it's an unfinished basement, it's so easy to lose your basement.
If it's an unfinished basement, it's pretty much a write-off at that point.
Because the odds are good that you probably already had some stuff down there that you were going to use to finish the basement.
Let's get real. It's unfinished for a reason.
Yep.
And that's procrastination, which is thus why you're throwing all your crap down there, right?
And then all it takes is you had that one thing, probably a sizable thing, that you were like, I don't have anywhere to put this. We'll just put it in the basement for now, and we'll deal with it later. And like you said, the procrastination kicks in, and one day you go to the basement, you just go, what happened down
Still
here?
have the framing from that bathroom you were going to put up but never did.
Dude, any day now, that ceiling fan is coming off the floor and into the bedroom.
Would you include the garage or the shed as a room at your house? Because that's another one that your garage or shed is either pristine or it's an absolute crap show.
I feel like this is a pointed question because you've seen my shed, and it is an absolute crap show.
You're either one of two guys where you've got everything organized or it just looks like a hurricane went through there at all times.
Dude, when you walk into someone's like garage, especially if they use it as like a workspace, and you can see like the pegboard on the wall, all the toolboxes are like lined up, arranged properly, outlines of the tools on the board.
They just know where everything is and they don't have to move stuff around.
They know where everything is, and if you move something, they know immediately, like, hey, that's not where that goes. Put that back. If that's your dad, you are scared of the garage.
It is weird when you go to someone's house sometimes and you're like, did you just clean this up because you knew I was coming over, or is this how it always is?
Well, that's the key. If you ever want to know what kind of person you're really friends with, you got to do the unannounced drop by, right? That's where you're going to really experience how they live. If you give me even a 5-minute heads up, like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood,
you got to tidy up, yeah.
I'll turn my house around before you get there. At least make it presentable.
You're like, does it always smell like bleach, or is it just right now?
I think if it always smells like bleach, that's way more concerning.
It is funny, right? When you go in someone's bathroom and you're like, wow, this is really clean.
Yeah. Everything is wiped down. There's like a hint of orange zest in the air, and you're like, either you just took a huge dump in here before I got here, or you just cleaned this bathroom.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
I also have respect for the people who really just don't care, and you go to their house and it's like, oh yeah, this is messy, like whatever, the kids are all over the place, like it is what it is. They're not trying to put on a show, because that's all of us to a T. Is like, none of our houses are always pristine, but we keep this image whenever people are coming over, like our houses always look this good.
You know what it is? If you tell someone you're coming over, you get the Instagram version of their house, versus if you just drop by. That's real life. You know how we say on social media, people always give you like the best and brightest version of themselves? That's the 5-minute cleanup before you come over to see what they're living with.
Yeah. It's a very different lifestyle that I live compared to like first date with Courtney versus dating her for 5 years now.
100%.
Yeah.
That first time you invite a girl back to your place, oh my God, she would think you live in a museum.
We have upgraded from my mattress off the floor, though. We do have a bed frame now,
Well
so
done.
We're doing all right.
This is the Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Yeah, today's word is acrimony. Yeah, acrimony. 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 And it's anger and bitterness. I'll get over it. Just be happy. Life's too short. Can't we all get along type thing? Anyways, that's about it. Have a great one. Cheers. You're up.
Acrimony.
Yeah, acrimony. It is just like very bitter feelings towards something. It can also be used as acrid, which can be like, like a really thick like smoke, like a smokestack from a bad truck or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be, it's like acrid smelling salts.
Oh,
and stuff
okay.
like that, yeah.
I guess you could say with the bitter part, like some dudes feel acrimony when they pay alimony. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Whether it's deserved or not, I would wager that most people paying alimony feel acrimony.
Some people watch two people wed in holy matrimony and feel acrimony at the wedding, right?
That is true. Carry on.
If you got that dude at work that's always just being bitter, call him acrimony. No, you know what? Don't call him acrimony. Just call him moany.
Moany?
Yeah. Just feel like you're being so moany, dude.
Listen, Moany, you need to lighten up around here. You're a real bummer to work
You're
with.
exactly what Billy Idol was singing about. You're so moany today.
Maybe you just need to get and get
That's why they fill in the gaps with hey rubber ducky get quack get fluffed, right? Don't be moany today, but use acrimony wherever you can. Acrimony. All right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.